Adam from the Patrick Bet David podcast has some really unkind things to say about Candace Owens when discussing this Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson beef. There's been a civil war going on among right-wing creators for a while now. And then you could also say there's a civil war within a civil war because Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, and Nick Fuentes, they essentially are on the same side. Like, I divided civil war up between pro-BB and anti-BB. Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, and Tucker Carlson appear to be anti-BB, but there's still a great divide and friction that exists within their group. Candace Owens is in an interracial relationship. She's a Christian nationalist. Nick Fuentes don't believe that interracial relationships should exist. Tucker Carlson is pro-establishment. Tucker Carlson is the establishment. Nick Fuentes believes that they have co-opted his movement because Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens probably had different opinions on BB 5 or 6 years ago. Nick Fuentes pretty much lost everything going against BB and the establishment. So he kind of sees Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens stepping into the movement and reaping all the awards and benefits while he had to suffer for it. I know that Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes recently did an interview that went horribly wrong, and they began feuding and going to war afterwards because Candace Owens tried to give Nick Fuentes some unsolicited advice that he didn't want, and then Nick Fuentes attacked a couple of Candace Owens' friends. It was a disaster. Well, Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens sat down, and they discussed Nick Fuentes and their own individual relationship with Nick Fuentes. And Tucker Carlson essentially said, he believes that Nick Fuentes is COINTELPRO. His logic and reasoning behind this is he believes they all have a similar fight. They all have similar beliefs. They're all pushing for similar things. And if you're pushing for something or you have a message to disseminate to normies and to the average person, you have to deliver that message in a digestible manner. He believes that Nick Fuentes is actually COINTELPRO, or that Nick Fuentes is working for the CIA to go against the movement because Nick Fuentes coming in with his schizophrenic rants or being just super like bipolar, it kind of turns off the normies. It's kind of make the average person kind of see Nick Fuentes and his history and what he says in the past about Black people or other groups of people, and they kind of get turned off from the message. So Tucker believes that they're trying to disseminate the message in a digestible manner and that Nick Fuentes actually does the movement more harm than good, which Nick Fuentes would probably say, I've been in this movement longer than you. Like, I've been doing this since I was like 18 years old. You just came around to this ideology 5 years ago. So what are you talking about? How would I be the COINTELPRO and this is my movement when y'all came into my movement? Tucker would also point out how Nick Fuentes attacks all the normies on this side of the world, right? How Nick Fuentes would attack the Candace Owens, the Tucker Carlson, and their particular friends who they believe are doing a pretty good job in disseminating the information in a digestible way to normies. And Nick Fuentes attacking all the people who they believe are pretty great advocates for the movement is Nick Fuentes trying to tear down the movement.
That's obvious to me. I've been around a long time. I know it when I see it.
Yeah, and I will say I don't understand it. We were very kind to him. Like, I truly, like, we almost said, like, we felt maybe he was a bit lonely. We should invite him back for dinner. I mean, that's how good of an experience I had.
Clearly it's
and then
sad.
It was a 180. So it's either A, it's being driven from like a little boy insecurity, and he just was so worried that he like just went on the attack because he doesn't know how to have normal relations after being banned everywhere.
Well, I think there's that could be
one element.
The angry gay kid thing going on. Yeah.
Or it's what you're saying, where he does this, he's lying to everybody and pretending that things are one way when it's not. I can say
Why is he attacking Joe Kent, who, I mean, Joe Kent worked as a CIA contractor, paramilitary contractor. He was in the U.S. military for years fighting our neocon wars. And his wife was killed in Syria in one of those wars. Joe Kent is the single most sincere critic, and I would say the one with the most credibility in the United States to say this foreign policy is bad. It killed my wife. I was a part of it. Joe Kent is actually someone the CIA doesn't like at all because he understands how it operates. And for Nick Fuentes, who's like some child from Chicago, to go after him specifically, one congressional seat in Washington State.
It is random.
It's not random, though. It's the opposite of random. Joe Kent was number one on the list of people they wanted to knock off, people who believe in our neocon foreign policy. They wanted Joe Kent out because he could stand up and say, I actually know. I've got the receipts. My wife was killed in Syria. You had to take that guy out. And Nick Fuentes, this child, this weird little gay kid in his basement in Chicago, is participating in a super PAC to bump off Joe Kent. Like, I've been around this my whole life. I know what that is. It's just an organized effort.
Yeah.
And he also did the thing that David Duke always did. including to me, which is be like, oh, yeah, it's my friend. And everyone's like, oh, Tucker Carlson's been endorsed by David Duke. I've been making like the anti-racist argument my whole life.
Right.
Like, I'm not for David Duke. Do I think David Duke is right when he's against affirmative action? You bet I do. But I'm not for David Duke. But David Duke would try to discredit people by hugging them. And that's exactly what Fuentes did. He goes out there, meet all these people, show up, hi, I'm Nick Fuentes. Can I get my picture with you? That's a campaign to destroy credible voices on the right. And Fuentes is part of it. And I know I'm inviting endless trouble by saying this because, you know, this is a kid with a lot of spare time, but it's just a fact. And I've seen it a lot.
Yeah.
And I, you can believe me or not, but I know what I'm talking about.
Tucker Carlson will further explain, and this is the part that really drawed in a lot of people. He would explain that the wheels began turning for him, and he began to get really suspicious of Nick Fuentes when Nick Fuentes, who's this kid from Chicago, when he somehow was able to discover that Tucker Carlson's father was CIA before almost anyone else. And like Tucker Carlson would claim that Nick Fuentes revealed that his father was CIA before anyone knew that Tucker Carlson's father was CIA. Now, Tucker Carlson is thinking, man, this kid is from Chicago. He's a young kid. He's 18. The only people who would have that information before I had that information would be somebody who was in the intelligence agency or somebody who was linked to the intelligence agency. Now, after this, a lot more information came out that made Tucker Carlson look horrible, because it kind of pointed out that Tucker Carlson was lying, at least when it comes to the time frame in which he found out his father was CIA.
But the only reason I know who he is because someone sent me a video a few years ago of him attacking me. And I was like, so I'm looking at this. And I'm like, well, first of all, this kid's really talented, like legit. And I can assess that just having done the job for so long. So it's like, wow, lots of talent, native talent. And he's attacking my dad as a CIA, his dad's in the CIA or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's no, untrue. Then my father dies, and I learn actually, was involved in that world. I was completely shocked by it. So no one has to believe me, but that's just a fact.
Right.
This was in March of this year. And I'm like, well, how the hell would this child from Chicago, and my dad was 84 when he passed. Like, who does this guy know who my dad is? And like, he's in intelligence. How would he know that? And
Wait, so that was his critique of you? Because I didn't see it.
Someone just sent me this video and it was like, you can't believe anything Carlson says because his father was in the CIA and he's a CIA working on behalf of the CIA. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, and I actually feel emotional in my anger towards CIA. And I think of that comes out on the air quite regularly.
Right.
And so the idea that I'm working for the CIA is like deranged.
Well, if it helps, he said I'm funded by Russia now. Since the interview, he then did a thing and said I was funded by Russia.
But you would be a lot more likely to take Russian money than I would be to work for the CIA.
Maybe Tucker misspoke or got the timeline wrong, but Tucker's father died this year in March of 2025. There's interviews from 2024 of Tucker Carlson admitting his father was in the CIA, and he found out his father was in the CIA. Now, the Patrick Bet David podcast covered this. Now, when they covered this, they essentially took the side of Nick Fuentes, even though they disagree with Nick Fuentes the most. But they would claim that Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are essentially grifters from their perspective. Now, I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that, and I'll explain a little later. But they will pull up clips where it shows that Tucker Carlson got the timeline wrong or just flat out lied, if we want to just assume the worst.
But here's a clip from the Sean Ryan show in 2024 where Tucker talks about his father being part of the CIA. So there's no way that he found out in June of 2024, made those comments in June of 2024, but then just found out in March.
Let me see this.
And so when I applied to CIA, and I've taken a lot of crap, including from Putin, like, oh, you're from a CIA family. Well, yeah, obviously my father worked in conjunction with CIA. I mean, that's what that is.
Wow. Is his father part of the CIA, and did he know it or not, and when did he know it? Based on this, it looks like he's lying to Candace Owens' face. Yes or no?
I think so.
Okay.
From what we just saw, from what
Right.
from like, how about this? Not like he worked for them or around them.
Dick Carlson, really? You tell me this guy wasn't CIA? He just looks like one.
Adam would then continue to express his suspicion with the motives of Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. He would say that he could pull up clips of Candace Owens, let's say a year ago or a year and a half ago or maybe 2 years ago, with completely opposite views on Bibi and Israel, like complete opposite, from his perspective. Now, he would claim that this shift was either money related or something happened or somebody came to him or, they're running propaganda for someone. And I do believe he's a little off in his assessment, but we'll tackle that when we get there.
Number two, I could show you tapes, so many of them. Candace Owens praising Israel, praising what Bibi Netanyahu has done, praising the Jewish people, saying that we have to stop this Muslim aggression. Not 20 years ago, not 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago,
So what
8
happened?
years ago.
What do you think happened?
Something happened. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
If you had to
But if I
guess-
could roll the tape.
Yeah.
So you know why I respect Nick Fuentes?
Yeah.
I don't see one video of him praising Israel, the Jews. Everything's not liking him and hating him. Stick to your position. Why is Candace Owens flipped so dramatically? By the way, same thing with Tucker. Why is he flipped so? What has happened?
Well, you heard
What's
well,
happened?
But here's my question to you: what do you honestly think it is? What do you think? Because Candace is smart as hell. Tucker, these people are smart as hell.
I think
what happened?
If I could give you a quick, if I can give you a quick summary, and I'll be super quick.
Yeah.
Tucker is the biggest faker out there because he's the elitist masquerading as a populist. Don't believe me? Roll the tape with what Nick Fuentes says. He says he's this elitist who's basically all like about hunting and whiskey. Dude, you're the only person in the history of the world that's had their own show on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox. Stop pretending you're not establishment. You've helped build the establishment, Tucker Carlson. Candace, I don't know what happened with Candace. She worked for Prager University and she worked for Charlie Kirk with Turning Point, and all of a sudden she's the biggest anti-Israel person out there. I don't know what happened. If I would speculate, it's probably something to do with her husband, who's Catholic, and there's a form of Catholicism that absolutely hates Israel and the Jews. Don't believe me? Ask her husband, I think his name is George.
Yeah.
His father, their relationship right there. Nick Fuentes, as disgusting as some of his takes are, he's being real. And some people appreciate being real over being fake like Tucker.
But to Candace's point, do you not think maybe with Candace, besides that's your take about the father and the brother?
That's not my take.
No, with George.
Look at the guy's tweets.
No, I'm saying with George.
I'm not bringing opinions here. I'm bringing receipts.
But what I'm saying is, do you think the actions of the government of Israel, not Jewish people around the world, the actions of the government led by Bibi Netanyahu could be a main thing that's making Candace go, wait a minute, and shift gears and change her tune?
To act like it's this grand conspiracy or this great mystery that people like Candace Owens or others have changed their mind on Bibi since October 7th is crazy. Like you are trying not to see it. Bruh, Twitter is finally a free speech platform for the most part, as much as they can be. And people in real time witnessed the day of October 7th. And then we heard certain things that made us think, hold on, bruh. Huh? The gates was wide open, huh? What? There was no security measures. Wait, what? Wait, hold on. Egypt warned them before. Yo, we watch things take place in real time. We watch babies starve in real time. We watch our president get manipulated to putting us into another foreign war in real time. The information is being disseminated. Now, in terms of Candace Owens, Candace Owens is probably the easiest person you could see how she was able to flip. Candace Owens got accosted by her boss for saying Christ is king. Candace Owens is Christian. Her boss is Ben Shapiro. You know his religion. She got essentially fired, terminated, aired out publicly for tweeting out Christ is king. She got called I can't even say that word on YouTube. But she got treated like the worst person in the world. She got treated as if she was starving babies for tweeting out Christ is king. So if you're Candace Owens and you've always been pro-Bibi and you've always taken a pretty neutral side on things, and then you see what's been happening to a lot of people like Nick Fuentes for years, what they've been screaming about, how they've been canceled, and you watch in real time how you're neutral, how you're just asking for the war to stop, and you're asking for a ceasefire, and people are treating you as if you are Satan for asking for a ceasefire, for saying Christ is king. Yeah, bro, you'll probably switch too. Because only one side is attacking you for having your beliefs. Adam's attempt at exposing Candace Owens and Tucker really backfired. So one user wrote, so Adam, people change over time. So you change from Democrat to Trump supporter. Why should Candace and Tucker not have the same change of mind? Again, you bias is on full display. I think that's a fact, especially because, again, you could go back in time and see Adam view on things. Adam views have changed pretty drastically, to be honest. So Candace Owens and Tucker, their views like ain't really changed that much drastically, bruh. The only thing that really happened in terms of Candace Owens is she was pretty neutral on the subject, and then she got attacked for being neutral and being herself, and then she switched on her attackers. That's pretty normal to me. But like the comments continued, people really wasn't feeling Adam all day. Adam tried to say that Candace Owens hates Tucker, which I think this user is right when he calls Adam a conspiracy theorist because Candace Owens was just on Tucker's podcast, I believe, like 3 days ago. They had like a 3-hour conversation. She says she really looks up to Tucker Carlson. So for him to come on this show and claim that Candace Owens hates Tucker Carlson is crazy, is lunatic. But again, Adam will say whatever to spread his particular agenda. One user by the name of McFly1430 stated, so Vinny starts criticizing blank and BB, then PBD quickly jumps in to cut him off. It's becoming obvious that these guys are bought and paid for at this point. I think Patrick Bet-David is a dude who has built like $100 million company. Some say he built his scamming. I don't know. I didn't do my research on that. But he understands what's good for business. He understands how to stay in the algorithm on YouTube, and you don't stay in the algorithm by criticizing BB and the rest of these people. Another user went ahead and stated, notice PBD won't ever personally say anything about blank or criticize them for what they are doing. PBD is smart and knows where the money comes from for all his other businesses. Yeah, and that's also the thing too, man, in terms of like giving commentary when you also have real life businesses that you understand could be affected. Because if PBD comes on his platform and go full schizophrenic mode and just starts bantering and letting people say whatever, bruh, those other businesses that's apparently worth $100 million, they're gonna be affected, bruh. All right, they're gonna fall to the ground. So at some point, you got to decide, man. Is being a commentator who values are really respected because people know there's no type of strings attached to it, is that worth more than being a $100 millionaire? Classic Adam has to defend blank instead of trying to be objective and having an opinion, not having his opinion have him. All in all, the attempt to expose Candace Owens, I think, backfired tremendously. The audience seeing right through it. But let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think? Do y'all believe that Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson are somehow being bought out? Is their switch very suspicious? Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. And if you're still watching, click on this video right here to find out why Dr. Umar Johnson just keeps getting worse. Like, the lies is piling up. His life is tearing him down. Click on this video right here to find out everything revolving the chaos that took place this week. I'm going to see you guys in this video. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.